This is absolute madness. Claude Opus 4 can now build entire n8n automations in a single prompt. So let's take this prompt I just created. We're going to bring it into n8n. We're going to import it as a JSON, and then let's see what happens. AI automators may be cooked. So my name is Omar, and I run a community teaching entrepreneurs how they can use AI in their business to cut costs, save time, and scale. And one of the biggest feedback I get from people trying to learn how to use AI in business is that tools like n8n have a very long learning curve. So you're starting off, you're getting all these buttons, there's a bit of a technical side to it, and it's really difficult to get up and running from the beginning. But now, tools like Claude Opus 4 are so good at coding, are so powerful, you can basically skip over all of that and you can get it to build you entire workflows. Then your job is to just come in and tweak it. So in this video, we're going to go through 4 key steps. First, I'm going to show you how you can scrape the right data from n8n so you can train Claude in how to build these workflows. Once we've done that, I'm going to show you how I built a custom-built prompt so it builds the right workflow every single time. And then we're going to go into Claude and we're going to look at the AI automation and see how well it did. And if you want to skip over all of that and just get everything I built for free, then stick to the end. And I'm going to show you how you can get the prompt, the training data, and everything so you can get in and start using this to build your AI automations. So going through the first step, which is how do we actually scrape the data to train n8n and Opus on the n8n data? So maybe you didn't know, but n8n has this really useful site that has lots of different information about how it works, about the nodes, the different logic it has, and there's lots of data. What people do is they can scrape this information and then bring this into Claude as a custom knowledge base. So what I did is I used this software called Firecrawl. And if you take in the URL here, the URL of this website, and you bring it in, it basically gives you a sitemap. And here it's told me there's 1,250 different pages. So there's so much information. So I was able to take all of that and then scrape that information using Firecrawl. And see here, I've scraped 1,224 pages. So all the different information we can have. And then you can use that to train Claude on this really rich knowledge base from n8n. Or at least that's what I thought. When I took that and I brought it into Claude, I quickly saw that the knowledge base was way too big and actually was so large when I was testing it out, it caused more problems than it was supposed to be solving. So I've gone in and I've done lots of work to really focus down on the key information and sheets from those 1,250 pages. And I've created this document with all the core information. And when I think about what I was doing to pull that in, I'm trying to use the 20% of nodes that you use in n8n that cover 80% of the use cases. I've taken all that information and brought it into here. Then, using the knowledge base, I basically prompted Claude to help me come up with the perfect prompt to build these n8n workflows. And I was able to go through that and then come up with a prompt. I tested it, I saw what went wrong, and I kept changing this until I got to something that generated me great n8n workflows that worked pretty much first time in most cases. And that's how I created this prompt. And then the final thing I found when it came to training Claude is that the best way to do it is, yes, you want some information about the core nodes, but after that, the best way Claude learns is by giving it lots of examples of different types of workflows. So I've gone through all the different workflows I've created, and then I've basically pulled the code. So if I just choose a random one here, I've pulled this code, and then I have this as an example workflow. So I've got loads of these, and then I upload these into Claude as the custom knowledge base. So you see here, I've only even used up 42% of the knowledge base, so we can add more examples if we want to make it even better. I have the scraped information from n8n, and then I have all these different custom projects I've done that are examples of what looks good, and then Claude can copy that and create n8n workflows. So this is how you train the Claude n8n instance, but I'll show you how to do it from scratch. If you go into Claude and you go new project, and here I can write n8n workflow builder, and then you want to create a project. At this point, you want to add your project instructions. So this is where you're going to go into the prompt that I created. You're going to copy and paste this in, and then you can add in the prompt here. Now, every time you create a document, it's going to follow this set of instructions to tell it what it should do and the different output it should present. So you're able to take that straight away and put it into n8n. I'm going to save that. And then next, you want to add your project knowledge base. So here you go upload from device. And I'm going to provide you all these documents. But what you want to do is you want to go through all of these different workflows, which I'll give you, and basically add them in. So I'll go through and add a few in. And then you press open, and now this is going to add it in. So as you go through this, you're then creating your knowledge base. Once that's set up, all you need to do is go into here and describe your automation. Say, I want my automation to do X. I want to create an email agent. I want it to have these tools. This is the logic I want it to follow. And then it's going to generate the code and you can bring it into Claude. And this is what we have here. I've imported this. And one thing I've done to really try to make this as useful as possible is get it to add lots of different notes to explain what it's doing. So to explain the different logic. And once that's set in, pretty much all you need to do is just add in your credentials. So I double click this, my credentials already set up, and now that works. So you're just going in and you're setting your credentials. And that's pretty much a working n8n automation. And the fact that this is so easy now, in some ways is incredible because you get to make workflows very quickly, but also quite scary, right? I think it just means that we're able to produce more higher quality, more complex. And what I love is so many new people join my community and they kind of just struggle to get past that initial learning curve. This is going to be a tool that massively helps anyone who's a beginner get through that. So yeah, we're pretty much done here. And now everything's connected. You have a fully functioning workflow, which is incredible. So if you want to get this yourself, I have a school community. This is absolutely free. You don't have to pay for this. And I have a link for this in the description. And here you have the prompt. You're going to have the scrape data, and you're going to have access to loads of different projects I've worked on. So you can bring that in as a custom knowledge base. Also, if you're interested, I have a paid community, and this has deep dives into lots of different n8n concepts. Like you get the automation fundamentals, technical concepts, you learn how to build agents. I got a vibe coding masterclass. So lots of cool stuff there if you want to take your learning a bit deeper. So I hope you found this helpful, and I'm really interested to see what you build using Claude and this new workflow. Catch you next time.